Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals, or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
Coinforce.com is your headquarters for superior quality challenge coins, proudly serving military and non-military customers worldwide. Located near the main gate of McChord Air Force Base and close to Fort Lewis, Coinforce.com is owned and operated by retired military veterans. Coinforce.com understands your needs and are proud to continue serving the military community in our own special way. For an undisputed best value, extreme quality, and superior customer service, when you're looking for the world's largest selection of challenge coins, visit Coinforce.com, owned and operated by retired military veterans.
And welcome to this week's installment of The Raw Nerve, heard only on Edge Media Source. You give us a call at 253-617-1440. Now on to your hostess. It is Susan C.
Thank you, Dennis. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a great one. I'll tell you, if you live in Western Washington, you just might be watching through the snowflakes.
It could happen.
A large portion of Western Washington is getting hit with snow. It is. We're not getting any. To my daughter's utter disappointment. She wanted snow so bad. And I'm like, no, I can live without it. Thank you. We just have rain. It's very cold rain, but it's still rain. But apparently it stopped just north of Kitsap, so we don't get the rain. Or we don't get the snow. So congratulations if you do. Also want to send out congratulations to Steve Gardner. He just wrapped up his first installment of Field of Steve right here from 3 to 5 on edgemediasource.com. And congratulations. Sounded great. It ought to be really interesting. Kind of you can tune in and listen to him muse about issues and things that he thinks about, and then what's on my nerve. Wow, what a full day. I love it. But congratulations. I think you did really, really well. It went off well. And I got to tell you, one has to wonder if Vladimir Putin, if his $51 billion crap roll is going to pay off or not. I got to wonder. Now, today is the closing ceremonies for the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia. And it's going to be in the history books, and people will look back on it and decide, well, did it win or did it not? Was it a flop? Was it not? Yeah, okay. But I got to tell you, at $51 billion, $51 billion. Oh, it just hurts to even say that. This was an enormous gamble by Vladimir Putin that was supposed to show America, or show the rest of the world, I'm sure we were a big part of that, how advanced Russia has come along, how much better Russia is doing, how sophisticated Russia is now. They're trying to shake the eating cold beans out of a can image that they've got after the Soviet Union's economy collapsed. You remember back when they were selling their subs to anybody that would buy them? Yeah. Selling just about anything they could. Kind of sad, really. But this was his idea. This was how he wanted to show the world that they have bounced back, they've come back, they're stronger than ever before. I don't know. We had unending reports of not just reporters, and thousands of reporters go to wherever the Olympics are being held to cover it and report on it. Not just reporters, but also athletes, athletes' families. So it's not just like the Olympic quarters that they built for the athletes. We're talking the hotels weren't even finished. Some of them didn't have working doorknobs. Some of them didn't have working faucets. Some of them you couldn't drink the water or bathe in the water that came out of the faucet if it did work. Some of them didn't have light bulbs. I mean, we're talking really, really basic stuff. Now, as far as I'm concerned, had they decided to hold the Olympics in a larger city instead of picking Sochi, which is this tiny little spa resort on the banks of the Balkan Sea. It's very popular for the older folks to go and take the waters and this sort of a thing. But no, he wants to bring the Olympics, arguably one of the largest international events in the world, to this tiny little town. Think about it. You take it to a bigger town, more established town, you have infrastructure already in place. If you have a problem, you've got somebody, you pick up the phone, boom, they're there right now to fix it, to work on it, to make it right. Whatever. They're upset, from what I understand, they're upset about in the opening ceremonies, and they had the five little dots that opened in the Olympic rings. And the fifth,
one ring didn't open.
the last one didn't open right,
Yep.
just kind of was stubborn. And from what I understand, Putin was really upset about that. And I'm like, it's a glitch. It happens, They do still have Siberia. They didn't sell that. Remember, this is a country with gulags, okay? This is a country that used to routinely disappear people in the middle of the night. People aren't going to complain real badly. Yeah. And then you've got South Korea. An interesting story going on here. South Korea they're putting out a petition, basically, for people to sign, and they're trying to get as many countries as possible on it, saying that the Russian figure skating judges were biased when they gave the 15-year-old Russian figure skater higher marks than their figure skater.
Yeah, folks are bitter on that one.
Bitter. That's one way to put it. On one hand, it sounds like sour grapes, Well, y'all just upset because you didn't get the gold. Personally, I'm one of those people, I would be delirious to win a bronze. Just to win a medal would be mind-boggling beyond belief to me. But there's a lot of people that get very upset if they have to settle for a silver and not the gold. On one hand, there's some validity to the argument because apparently the 15-year-old, by everybody's standards who was watching it, belief, did not do as well, and she actually fell down a couple of times. And she still scored higher than the South Korean figure skater who did not fall down and had a much cleaner program. And I was talking to Dennis, Bad Boy Dennis D on the other side of the mic over here. And we were talking, and I said, I know that the judging is so precise. I mean, it comes down to literally, judges are looking at what edge of the blade the skater comes down on in a jump. Is it the outside of the blade or the inside of the blade? And that's a blade that wide, that thick. I'm like, okay, it gets pretty particular. They get pretty particular. But really, it doesn't sound right. The only thing, I'll be honest with you, the only thing I watched in the Winter Olympics has been the skating, ice skating, figure skating, dance, pairs, you name it. And I can't watch it. We didn't show, so I record it and then watch it later. And I've got to tell you, I have noticed we had the short dance, ice dance routine, short dance program. And I'm watching all these groups do it, and it's really cute, and it's a heck of a sport, I'll tell you. But I'm sitting here watching it, and I'm no expert. I'm first to admit it, I'm no expert. But I gotta tell you, when you're watching it, and the USA is skating, they've got like two teams, they're skating back to back, and they both do very well. It looks just fine. Nobody's saying anything like, whoops, that was a wobble or a bobble or whatever. And they get done, and everybody's all happy, and they're excited and pumped, and they know they've done well. And when you finish something like that, you know if you've done well. You don't need a score to tell you. And then you see somebody else come up, and they skate, and they're even commenting, that's going to cost some points, and that's going to be execution points, and blah blah blah, and all this. And then they come back and they still score higher than the American team, and I'm kind of like, maybe it's just me. Apparently, it's me in South Korea. But there's been talk. There's been talk about biased scoring. And I got to tell you, like I said, this is Vladimir Putin's big $51 billion gamble. He is making the 2014 Winter Olympics the face of Russia right now. This is what he wants people to take away what Russia is. You want to tell me there's no pressure on the judges to make sure that Russia hits that podium more often than anybody else, and maybe nudge them over to the gold a little more than the other teams? Personally, I think you'd have to be superhuman not to feel the pressure. I don't think it would even be possible. That's just me, but I don't think it'd be possible. So, I don't know. I don't know. I like to think that it's as fair, above board, and judicial as humanly possible. But what can I tell you? We still, in 2014, had Olympic athletes who were disqualified because they tested dirty for performance-enhancing drugs. Really? Really? Does anybody not know that you're going to be tested? Idiot. Yeah. And I got to tell you, for the U.S., there might be kind of a mixed blessing if it's sort of biased judging going on over there right now, because, in case you're not aware of this, I was not myself, American medal winners at the Sochi Winter Olympics are liable for taxes on the cash earnings that they receive from the U.S. Olympic Committee. Now, I did not even realize they got paid, but they do. The U.S. Olympic Committee pays our athletes money for medaling in the Olympics.
Yeah, that I didn't know.
I did not know that. Now, those medals that America's been winning at the Winter Olympics in Sochi come with a price, and Uncle Sam wants his percentage, whether it's gold, silver, or bronze. The U.S. Olympic Committee awards cash prizes to medal winners: $25,000 for gold, nice, $15,000 for silver, and $10,000 for a bronze medal. But the money is considered earned income abroad and subject to IRS taxation at a rate as high as 39%. Wow, ouch. 39%. That's why some politicians have revived a bill introduced in Congress at the time of the Summer Games in London to exempt those Olympic winnings as earnings. Now, the bill never even came up for a vote in 2012, so I don't know what we're going to do in 2014. But it would seem fair to me. I mean, they've represented the country admirably against all other countries. I think they should be rewarded for that, Now, according to the Americans for Tax Reform, a group supporting the bill, those in the top tax bracket, like skier Ted Lightey, ice skaters Merrill Davis and Charlie White, or any U.S. hockey player, will pay 39.6% or $9,900 for their gold medals. Ouch. $9,900 on their medal. Those at the bottom tax bracket will pay 10% or $2,500 for a gold. Wonder how they decide who's in the top bracket, who's in the lower bracket. I think that I would want to find out, and I got a pretty good feeling I would find it insulting. Many other nations do not even tax Olympians for their medal prices, and some, such as Britain, don't give their medalists cash prizes at all. They just get the medal. Come home with the medal and be proud. Yay. However, Accountant Success suggests there could be a way around the tax question. If Congress does not support the exemption, if an athlete treats his or her sports activity as a business, then related expenses might be deductible. So all those training expenses, the cost of travel and equipment could be deducted against their income. So I thought there's a lot of money goes into training for these, as you can well imagine. I thought it was interesting. They were talking the other night when I was watching the Olympics about how a lot of teams trained over in Russia, in the Russian ice skating facilities for figure skating. And they came out in 2012 and said that, no, if you are not a Russian skater in the 2014 Olympics, you are not able to train in our rinks. They're just for Russian skaters for 2014, period. And we even had some American teams that were training over there. And one team, they were training for like 4 years over there. And they had to leave and come home. So they went to Detroit, which has a huge training facility. And it's open to anybody in the whole flippin' world. Thank you very much. Come on down and get some training. And boy, did they do well. So apparently it didn't hurt much. But I got to tell you, that's a lot of money. $9,900 on a $2,500 medal. Ouch. That would hurt. That would sting.
Just a little.
Just a little, yeah. But I'm thinking, hey, they comported themselves well, they presented themselves, and represented the U.S. proudly. I'm not going to say they're heroes because they're not heroes. Heroes wear cami. They wear camo, and they wear police blues and firefighter bungers. Those are heroes. But that doesn't mean we can't be proud of them. I am. I think we've done very well this year. I'm really proud of them. Huh?
Actually, I do have an updated medal count if you wanted
Sure.
that information.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the way in.
What we've got is America is actually in second as far as total medals.
Second to...
Second to none other than the Russian Federation.
What a shock.
With 33 medals, they've got 13 gold, 11 silver, and 9 bronze. U.S. has got 9 gold, 7 silver, and 12 bronze. And then right behind us would be Canada.
Oh, Canada.
And then, oh no, not Canada. Norway, then Canada.
Oh, Norway.
Even though Canada...
Well, think about it. Norway would do fabulously in Winter Olympics.
Yeah. They should.
Yeah, between the hockey and the bobsledding and the cross country and the, oh my Lord, what they do. Those people are born. They come out with pieces of wood glued to their feet. It's amazing. They're amazing people.
It's because it snows over there all the time.
It is. They have a lot of snow. They have a lot of snow to practice in. Well, anyway.
You might as well be good at it.
Yep. You got it. Use it.
There you go.
But kudos goes out to our U.S. Olympic team. I think we did well. I'm proud of them. Now, I was reading in the paper that the city of Bremerton, and they're going to do something that a lot of cities do from time to time. You hear about it. I remember hearing about when I lived in San Diego. Richmond did it. Washington, D.C. did it. Lots of places do it. They offer amnesty. If you owe the city for fill in the blank, if you come in and pay it off now, you won't have to pay any interest. You won't have to pay any, penalties. Just pay what you owed originally. And that sounds fabulous. I mean, it's not fabulous that you have to pay it, but comparatively speaking, it sounds fabulous. I'm here to tell you it's not. And I find it rather insulting the way that cities do this because, this is a story and then we'll discuss it. Roughly 7,300 parking tickets have gone unpaid in the city of Bremerton in the past decade. 73,000 parking tickets. That's a lot of parking tickets. But Bremerton officials are hopeful a promotion they're dubbing an amnesty might bring that number down to a more reasonable number. Starting March 3rd, anyone with an outstanding parking or red light camera ticket can get it or can pay it free of a late fee or interest payment. Just pay what you owe for the ticket. Now, the city is changing its computer system that handles such tickets, providing a good time to give people a chance to settle up. The new system used by the state will prohibit people with 2 or more unpaid parking or red light tickets from renewing their vehicle registration. Yeah. More on this in a minute. We thought it'd be a nice gesture to allow people to take care of these fines before registration holds start happening. This is according to Don Nelson, Bremerton Municipal Court Administrator. Late fees assessed by the court cost a violator $25 on top of the ticket. Interest at 12% can add up quickly and is assessed by the collection agency hired by the city. Tickets typically go to collections after approximately 2 months of non-payment. Those who've been pursued legally for fines by a collection agency aren't eligible for the program. Every person assessed a parking ticket, anything from $25 for overstaying a meter in a spot to $450 for parking in a spot reserved for people with disabilities, parking in a handicap spot. Settled up, it would amount to more than $2.6 million in income the city could use. Now, around $166,000 of that is also uncollected from the city's red light photo enforcement system, which is tabulated as a parking ticket. The city had used software independent of a state system to produce parking and photo enforcement tickets, and by switching to the state system where all other traffic infractions go, court clerks won't have to track the tickets in 2 different places, and the city will save at least $6,000 a year getting rid of the independent software. Now, Bremerton Mayor Patty Lentz said she hopes the amnesty is successful and believes the efforts streamlines the city processes. It's efficient, it's effective, we're going to be fiscally responsible, she said. Fines can be paid at Bremerton Municipal Court down on Park Avenue. You can also call a number for more information. Just call the courthouse for more information. The amnesty runs through March 31st. Now, this sounds just wonderful, doesn't it? Okay. I have heartburn with this on a lot of levels. A lot of levels. A lot of levels. Number 1, I hate red light ticketing. Red light camera ticketing. I hate it. I detest it. I think it needs to go away. The reason being, all people, you take the average person on the road, believe it or not, we all have days, believe me, I know. But the average person on the road today is a responsible, safe, attentive driver, for the most part. I guarantee you, we all have lapses. We all do something stupid once in a while, because it is physically impossible to be vigilant 100% of the time. Nobody can do it. Nobody. And the whole red light camera thing, it's set up to catch people, as many people as it can, and that's all it's for. It's not to make it safer. It's not for anything except to catch people making mistakes and then getting money for it. You want to catch somebody running a red light or whatever, you let an officer catch them. You know, the guys we pay to do this? Yeah. Now, this is my opinion, but I'll tell you, I've got one. We now have red light ticketing, right? Run a red light, you get a ticket. Are you even aware of the fact that they're coming out with speeding cameras that monitor your speed? Monitors your speed and sends you a ticket if you exceed the speed limit. Am I supposed to hear that? Closing ceremonies today. I think it's funny. Russia, well, Japan too, I imagine, is 12 hours ahead of us. So if it's noon here, it's midnight there. It's exactly 12 hours. It's odd to me. I don't know why. But, in case you're not aware of the fact, that's just, okay? You get a ticket in the mail. You have so long to pay it. Or you can dispute it. You can go into court and dispute it. If you go into court and dispute it, but the judge says, no, you have to pay it, the clock starts ticking. You have a certain period of time to pay it. If you do not pay it in that period of time, it will go to collections. Collections adds a hefty fee to it. If you want real amnesty, they're sitting there saying if you have been legally pursued for fines by a collection agency, you're not eligible. No, make everybody eligible. If you want a true amnesty, and we're talking, what was it? Millions of dollars. Why do I not have that? Yeah. $2.6 million that the city could really use. Really use. So think about it. Offer amnesty, but offer it to everybody. Even if you've been turned to collections. Let people pay it up and get it off their boards. Because I'll tell you something. If you've got a ticket, if you've got a $25 ticket for overstaying a meter and you haven't paid it before within 2 months before you turn to collections, you're probably making a statement. It's pointless and useless because they don't care. But you're probably making a statement. If you have a $450 ticket for parking a handicap, for an example, a lot of people would be hard-pressed to pay that in 2 months. Hard-pressed to pay that in 2 months. So, on one hand, it kind of feels like the city's taking advantage of people who are in a bind, who aren't, affluent, as it were. Can't say I like it. Can't say I like it. I really don't. If it's going to be an amnesty, make it a real one, where everybody gets a break. And I'll tell you one thing, I do not like this idea that if you have an unpaid ticket, if you have 2 unpaid tickets, they put a hold on your vehicle registration renewal. That's a stupid, like $500 fine or something like that. If you're caught driving with without current tabs. Wow. I don't like that. No. To me, it smacks a little bit of bullying. It really does. Bullying the populace just because you can. I'm all for Bremerton getting the money. They need it. I don't doubt that. I got my little love letter from my husband and I call it our Valentine, from the county assessor this month. Get it every February. It tells us how much our property has gone up or down in value. I laugh because I don't think it's ever gone up. And it breaks down how much we pay in levies and Texas. And we're paying like almost $2,000 a year just in levies and taxes. Wow. It's a lot. Going to take a break here. We'll be back right after this. It's The Raw Nerve. Hang in there with me. I'll see you in a sec.
St. Paul, the voice of reason here. Wanted to send a quick shout out to our friends at Pacific Northwest Artisans. They're a custom concrete and design fabrication company. They can do all of your concrete needs. They can do pathways, walkways, driveways, you name it. You need a new foundation, you're going to do an add-on, give them a call, 731-9812 or 649-0987. Again, that's 731-9812 or 649-0987. Pacific Northwest Artisans, all of your concrete needs.
Did you know volunteering with the Bremerton Central Lions Club can be fun? Community services for everyone. Young people, families, men, women. As a volunteer, you'll help your community and gain valuable skills, network with others, energize your life, make an impact, and have fun. Get in step with your community and volunteer. Visit us at bremertoncentralwa.lion.wap.org.
Hey, it's K-Dog with the Outlaw Radio Network to tell you about Rachel's on the East Side, but instead of sharing what I think, let me tell you what your Kitsap neighbors have posted online at urbanspoon.com. When they were asked what they thought about Rachel's on the East Side, Charlie wrote, delicious. So happy to finally have some great food in Bremerton. Sally wrote, my husband and I absolutely love this restaurant. It's quickly become our favorite. LT wrote, local microbrews, awesome pizza, free Wi-Fi and friendly service. Rachel's has all this and much more. Lastly, AF22 simply says, hands down, the best food on the peninsula. With a full menu including pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more, Rachel's on the East Side is a great place to enjoy a romantic night out with the one you love. It's also a great place to take the whole family out for a great family dinner. Rachel's also has outdoor seating, so find out what everyone in Bremerton is talking about at Rachel's on the East Side, 1217 Sylvan Way in Bremerton. Open 7 days a week at Rachel's on the East Side.
Toad House Pizza Pub at 1405 McWilliams Road isn't just a pizza place. It's the feel of an authentic East Coast pizzeria pub right in East Bremerton. From gourmet pizza to salad, Toad House Pizza Pub is an experience like no other. With over 120 beers on hand, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Toad House Pizza Pub, a family restaurant offering dine-in, outdoor seating, or just takeout. Toad House Pizza Pub, a pizza pub like no other.
Getting married, entertaining clients, or maybe you're just having a bash with your friends. No matter the occasion, make sure you plug into the tunes with E&M Entertainment. There are tons of DJs out there, but how many of them want to get to know you beforehand so they can play your soundtrack at your event at your kind of price? It's more than just a great selection. E&M plays your great selection, and that makes all the difference. So call 425-971-8078. That's 425-971-8078 for E&M Entertainment.
And welcome back to the Raw Nerve with your host, Susan C. And you can give us a call, 253-617-1440, or just check us out online. And now back to your host. Here is Susan C.
Thank you, Dennis. Welcome back, everybody. And before I get too far in this, y'all know Dennis on the other side of the glass here, pushing the buttons to make me sound good. Bad boy Dennis D, how you doing, darling?
I'm trying.
It's been a weekend, hasn't it?
Yes.
I wish I could see out. I'd like to see if it's snowing. I wonder if it is. It was cold. It was raining, very cold when we came in.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's utterly cold out there. Like to the bone.
There are a lot of things in the world I don't like. Okay?
Amen.
Actually, not a lot of people lose sleep over what does Susan like or not like, okay? But I got to tell you, I think I'm fairly reasonable, but some things just cross the line. As a citizen, as a taxpayer, as a human being, we demand better. We have to. We have to. Otherwise, we get walked all over. And the little guy can't afford to be walked all over. Come on. Case in point, and this is really on my raw nerve. According to the Associated Press, Seattle Mayor Ed Murray is backing his interim police chief's decision to overturn misconduct findings against 7 officers, including an incident in which an officer threatened to harass an editor at the weekly newspaper The Stranger. You remember that? We all saw that on TV. They showed, I guess it was dash cam or somebody was filming it, had the camera out and filmed it. And he was, I'll come down to your office and harass you and give you a hard time.
Right.
Guy was basically in uniform being an ass, which is not generally smiled upon, Lord knows police departments have enough problems with image. Well, I got to tell you, in a late Friday news conference, Murray said interim police chief Harry Bailey made the right decision in one case and simply approved 6 other actions endorsed by his predecessor. It wasn't me, I just followed orders and went along. Yeah, right. Now, Murray said that Bailey acted appropriately when he reversed the 1-day suspension of Officer John Marion, who, along with a King County deputy, threatened Dominique Holden, an editor at The Stranger, when he stopped to photograph police activity at a public transit plaza last summer. Now, the sheriff's deputy, who had a long history of complaints, was later fired As in, we don't think you're doing a good job. Fired? Yeah. Now, Bailey's actions and Murray's approval of them are raising serious concerns from a police watchdog and have prompted pointed questions from City Council. In order overturning the suspension, the action removed a misconduct finding from the officer's record. Quote, while this could be perceived as a lesser punishment under the current legal framework, Chief Bailey believes, and I support him, that the framework for this process is reflective of what is most constructive. Training, changing behavior, unquote. This is according to Mayor Murray. The training Marion went through includes making the officer create a presentation about best practices in working with the public and speaking at precinct roll calls about what he had learned. Apparently this training didn't help. Let's not punish him. Let's not hold his feet to the fire and hold him to a level of standard. He just needs more training. Yeah. Before the news conference, the Seattle Times reported that City Council member Tim Burgess sent a pointed letter to Bailey asking for further explanation of the reversal. As my questions indicated, I'm concerned that your review of prior cases, all fully investigated with final dispositions reached, will send a message that I don't believe you intend, and that, excuse me, and that is that you are reversing previous police chief's findings merely because you don't personally agree with the outcomes. According to Burgess, he wrote this in a letter obtained by the Times. Now, of all the misconduct reversals approved by Bailey, they stem from negotiations between the city and the Seattle Police Officers Guild. Bailey once served with the Police Guild. The Guild also endorsed Murray over previous Mayor Mike McGinn in the last year's election. During the campaign, Murray often criticized McGinn over his handling of the police department, which is under a federal consent decree with the U.S. Department of Justice, after federal investigators found that officers too often resorted to excessive force and displayed troubling evidence of biased policing. A retired judge who oversees Seattle's police accountability system said that Bailey's actions raised questions. Based on what has been made public thus far, this reflects a very serious problem that has the potential to significantly undermine public trust. Do you think? This is according to Ann Levison. Excuse me. It appears that cases where there was found to be misconduct and discipline was to have been imposed have been overturned. Not by order of a court or an arbitrator, but simply because the officers in the union did not agree with the result. Bailey has been denied, or has denied, that his decisions are payback to the union. At Friday's news conference, excuse me, Holden and Murray exchanged tense questions and answers. Murray and Bailey, by protecting a bad cop, only further erode the limited trust many citizens have of a department with a pattern of civil rights violations. Think about this, people. For the last 2 years, a good portion of the news that comes out of Seattle has been police officers going over that line, whether verbally or physically. You remember the cop that slapped the woman? Just because apparently she was being mouthy with him? Well, she was mouthy with me. It's okay if I slap her. Yeah. These are cases that they're talking about here that have been investigated. You know, complaints were filed, investigations done, findings reached that punishment should be meted out, and the mayor backs the interim police chief, not even the real police chief, just fill in. Just, we'll overturn it. He's a nice guy, really. He's just misunderstood. No. I'm sorry. I think we as the American public, as citizens, we deserve better than this. I'm tired of turning on the news and seeing the cops kicking somebody who's in handcuffs down on the ground, or being verbally abusive in a way that is not even remotely called for. If you put on that uniform and that vest and that gun, you're telling them, the citizens that you deal with, you're making them a promise. I will be here. I will put my life on the line to keep you safe and keep you whole. This is my job. This is what I want to do because nobody makes them be a cop. And this is a promise that they make. And I think when that promise is broken, punishment should be swift and severe. Police officers are held to a different standard than the average people. They carry guns. We have seen adequate cases, more than adequate, of what happens when a cop tends to be a little gun happy. We can't allow it. We can't say it's okay. We can't say, oh, you're just having a bad day. No. I read that and it just, it made me so angry. I'm like, who does he think he is? And who does the new mayor think he is? To just overturn a decision like this. You know? This is the equivalent to somebody driving drunk, plowing into another car and killing somebody. It goes to court. The judge says, you're guilty of drunk driving. You're going to jail for 16 years for vehicular manslaughter. And having, the head of the court system just say, nah, we'll let him go with, training and an ankle bracelet. It's basically the same thing. Both would be and is exceedingly wrong. And it amazes me that our public elected officials don't see this. Apparently, to them, it's fine. To them, it is just fine. Go figure. Yeah, that nerve just gets beaten some days. It really does. No wonder it's so raw. This is something else I saw that kind of gave me pause. It really did. You'll see why. Central Kitsap Fire and Rescue. Now, they are huge fire and rescue department here in Kitsap County. They're considering increasing the fees and mileage it charges to people who need ambulance services. Now, for one thing, I can guarantee you that I know a lot of people do not even realize that, yes, if you call the fire department, we're not talking about in the city of Bremerton, if you call an ambulance, the city fire department calls Olympic Ambulance, which is a private ambulance service. Okay? They don't transfer in the city limits. The city fire department does not transport patients. They ship it out or outsource it to Olympic Ambulance. A lot of people didn't realize that for the county who do transport, there are a lot of fees associated with this. A lot. Well, they're considering upping the fees and mileage it charges. The commissioners discussed increasing basic fees by 1.6% and mileage to $16 per mile. $16 per mile. Wow. Basic fees range from $591 to $873, depending on the level of care. In other words, if you are what they call a BLS or a basic level services, your life or limb is not in danger. You slipped, you fell, you broke your arm, or whatever. That's a lower level. You're having chest pains. You think you might have had a stroke. You've been in a bad car accident. That's ALS. That's a paramedic's going to come and take you. That's the higher level. Now, depending on the level of care provided, the fees could increase to a range of $600 to $887 for to call the ambulance. Now, the district might also add itemized charges for cases that require use of a heart monitor, IV, backboard, oxygen monitor, and extra oxygen. According to Battalion Chief Joseph Ripar, he said, if you're not itemizing, you are leaving money on the table. Well, yeah. Technically, I suppose you could charge for everything under the sun and not leave that money on the table. But there comes a limit, there comes a point where you say, what is fair and right? And just because a thing can be done, does that mean it should be done? Kind of a motto in my life. Now, private emergency medical companies routinely do itemized billing. The North Mason Regional Fire Authority already itemizes for the 5 charges Kitsap County Fire and Rescue is considering. KCFR currently earns $1,210,000 from transportation rates, but has budgeted for $1.25 million this year. RIPAR presented 3 options, to the Central Kitsap Fire and Rescue Commissioners during a meeting on Monday. They included sticking with the current fee and mileage rate of $15 per mile, increasing the fee by 2.5% without a change in mileage, which would increase revenue by 11,000%, increasing the fee by 2.5% without a change in mileage, but adding itemized billing. CKFR commissioners suggested changing the rate increase to 1.6%, the inflation rate, along with increasing the mileage. Now, according to Commissioner Bob Mulman, he said it's hard to justify another number, he said, about the inflation rate. Commissioner Dave Fergus voiced concern about increasing the mileage rate because Medicare and Medicaid reimbursements are fixed. In those cases, raising the fee would not increase revenue. It would if you went after the people for the balance, or the remainder. About 64% of CKFR's transportation calls are capped Medicaid and Medicare calls. So the whole point that I'm trying to make here, the whole point, it is rare that someone calls an ambulance and they don't get something, I don't know if it's a monitor or an IV or a backboard or something like this, something is used. It's very rare to just pick up somebody, put them in a gurney, put them in the back, and take them. That's rare. I know, I was an EMT in this county for 8 years. So they're charging for all these things. My concern, and I understand, boy, do I understand, their need to make enough money to cover expenses. Absolutely. But my concern is that we're going to see a severe uptick in people who don't call for an ambulance when they really should. And people are going to die. They're not going to call for an ambulance because they can't afford it. There are a lot of people, and yes, you can say Medicare, Medicaid, it's capped, blah, 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 it's covered, whatever. But I got to tell you, we have a huge population in Kitsap County of what you call the working poor. On paper, they look like they make decent money. But in real life, when that amount of money has to go to pay the bills and pay the child support and pay the food and pay, the doctor bills and everything else involved, you don't make that much money. There's not much left over at the end of the month. A lot more month left over than money. There you go. And these are the people that are going to get really slammed. It's not going to be the people who have really good insurance. So if you call an ambulance, you end up, I think our insurance is like $100. I think we end up paying $100 for an ambulance. But it's that middle people, which constitute a huge proportion of our population in Kitsap County. They're not going to call for an ambulance because they can't afford $1,000 for a ride to the hospital. Or you're going to see people, well, I think I'm having a heart attack. Well, I'll drive myself. I can't afford an ambulance. Really? No, ambulances are there for a reason. They were deemed a necessity of civilized life a long time ago. They have done nothing but go up and forward in technology and technique and ability and what they can provide. Yes, that has to be paid for. I understand that. But stop and think. All I'm saying, stop and think. How many people do you think die because when they should have called an ambulance, they didn't call an ambulance because they couldn't afford it? I think that's a fair question. I really do think that's a fair question, because I'll tell you something. I do not doubt whatsoever in my mind that there is a number to that. I think anybody dying because he can't afford a ride to the hospital is out there. It's wrong. So I don't know. Come up with a reasonable charge for an ambulance ride, something that can be defrayed. Oh, gee, and work it out so that the people can make payments. There's a thought. A lot of people out there couldn't afford a $1,000 car, walk out and just plunk money down and pay for it. They have to make payments. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Life is expensive. I understand that. The niceties of life that we take for granted are expensive. They have to be funded, they have to be maintained, and it is expensive. But I'm telling you, more and more and more and more, the people funding our way of life aren't the rich people. It's what used to laughingly be considered middle class. They're the only ones paying taxes. The rich don't have to pay taxes anymore. That's America. Rich don't pay taxes. The rich pay a lot of money to a lot of attorneys to see to it they don't pay taxes. Probably spend as much on their attorneys as they would in taxes. Go figure. Yeah, close. Wow. People in this country, it's a pastime. It's a pastime thinking of how not to pay Uncle Sam for something. Go figure. You and I can't get out of not paying taxes. We can try. We won't get very far. A lot of people out there this time of year are jumping up and down. They're upset because they got to pay their taxes. And I tell you, when it hits and you have to pay and not get anything back, or at least break even, it hurts. It hurts a lot of people. And what really bothers me about the way our system is set up is it's not so much the fact that they know that a lot of people can't afford it. They can't pay it. And it's a huge financial burden to them. It's the fact that they don't care. That's what galls me. This entire country, every service that this country provides is all designed to promote the lifestyle and welfare of its people. And yet when push comes to shove, the people are the most disposable aspect of the country. They're the ones that can be used and abused. What are they going to do? Move? Yeah. I'm not going to go to Canada. They made Justin Bieber in Canada. Ooh, that's scary. I wouldn't go to Canada to visit at this point.
Oh, you're not a believer?
I'm not a believer. No, I'm not. Although I did go to Canada for my honeymoon. My husband and I took a weekend and went up to Canada, and it was nice. It was nice. This was before Bieber was born, so it was safe then. But I'll tell you, it's just, I'm really, really getting fed up with this whole concept that it's the people that can suffer before corporations or rich people. Go figure. We're going to take a break down here at the top of the hour. Stay tuned. After the news, we'll be back for the second hour of the Raw Nerve. Dennis and I'll see you in a sec.
Some drunk tried to punk me and asked my baby, do you dance? She said, yes, I do, but not with you. I'm waiting on my man. See, every dog has its day, dog. When a big dog goes in a bone. One moment in the sunshine when your ducks line up in a row. Lucky dog gets a big old bed. Stray dog gets a porch. Every dog has its day, dog, but the day dog just ain't yours. When I nipped her and I kissed her.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. Ukraine's new interim president says integration with Europe will be a top priority. NPR's Peter Kenyon reports that Washington is warning Moscow against military intervention.
After being named interim president, Alexander Turchinov gave lawmakers 48 hours to agree on a new government and said while he's ready for dialogue with Russia, integrating with Europe will be a top priority. As the Olympics in Sochi came to an end, all eyes here turned toward Moscow to see how Russian leader Vladimir Putin will react to losing his ally Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych, who says he was the victim of a coup. In Washington, National Security Advisor Susan Rice said Russian military intervention in Ukraine would be a grave mistake, and that Ukraine keeping friendly ties with Russia and moving toward integration with the EU need not be mutually exclusive goals. Peter Kenyon, NPR News, Kiev.
Treasury Secretary Jacob Lew and Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen have wrapped up a two-day meeting in Sydney, Australia, with their counterparts from the world's 20 largest economies. Steve Beckner of Market News International reports the so-called G20 financial chiefs have agreed on an agenda for the global economy.
The G20 commit themselves in a communique to significantly raise global growth. Their finance ministers and central bankers vow to develop ambitious but realistic policies aimed at lifting their combined GDP by more than 2% above what is now projected over the next 5 years. That would mean some $2 trillion in added growth and significant additional jobs, they say, while recognizing that very low interest rates need to normalize in due course. Monetary policy measures among the G20 central banks are to be carefully calibrated and clearly communicated with an eye toward their impact on the world economy. For NPR News, I'm Steve Beckner.
Federal prosecutors in New York say they're seeking the extradition of drug cartel kingpin Joaquin Guzman, who was captured in Mexico this weekend. House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Michael McCaul told ABC's This Week that he understands why Mexico might prefer to prosecute Guzman rather than extradite him to the U.S., but he says there's no room for slip-ups in this case.
The track record's not good with this individual. This is an exceptional case. Yeah, this is the largest, biggest drug lord we've ever seen in the world.
Guzman evaded capture for 13 years. The Coast Guard says a 65-mile stretch of the Mississippi River is closed until further notice while crews clean up an oil spill. A barge hit a towboat between Baton Rouge and New Orleans yesterday. The Associated Press reports in nearby St. Charles Parish, public drinking water intakes on the river are closed as a precaution. This is NPR News in Washington. Jason Collins is the first openly gay professional basketball player. NPR's Nathan Rott reports the 35-year-old Collins has signed a short deal with the Brooklyn Nets and is suiting up against the Los Angeles Lakers tonight.
Jason Collins' deal with the Nets is a short one, at only 10 days, but it's being viewed as a huge step for gay athletes in American sports. No openly gay athlete has played in any of America's 4 major sports leagues, including the NBA. Collins made headlines last April when he announced in a Sports Illustrated article that he was gay. The 13-year NBA veteran was a free agent at the time. Collins wasn't invited to any team training camps after the announcement last offseason, but the 7-foot, 255-pound center has stayed in shape, hoping a team would come calling. The Nets fit the bill. They need a big center to help anchor their defense as they try to push for a final playoff spot. Nathan Rott, NPR News.
The 2014 Olympic Games in Russia have come to a close. The president of the International Olympic Committee says athletes and spectators enjoyed exceptional conditions at the Games. Thomas Bach says he thought it was impossible for Sochi to host an Olympics when he first visited 20 years ago.
We saw an old Stalinist-style sanatorium city where whenever you enter the room, you were looking at the roof whether you would not be hit by something falling down.
Bach also praised Russian President Vladimir Putin for his personal commitment to the success of the Games. Russia came out on top with the most medals. I'm Windsor Johnston, NPR News in Washington.
Hey, St. Paul, the voice of reason here. Wanted to send a quick shout out to our friends at Pacific Northwest Artisans. They're a custom concrete and design fabrication company. They can do all of your concrete needs. They can do pathways, walkways, driveways, you name it. You need a new foundation, you're going to do an add-on, give them a call, 731-9812 or 649-0987. Again, that's 731-9812 or 649-0987. Pacific Northwest Artisans, all of your concrete needs.
Did you know volunteering with the Bremerton Central Lions Club can be fun? Community services for everyone. Young people, families, men, women. As a volunteer, you'll help your community and gain valuable skills, network with others, energize your life, make an impact, and have fun. Get in step with your community and volunteer. Visit us at bremertoncentralwa.lion.wap.org.
Getting married, entertaining clients, or maybe you're just having a bash with your friends. No matter the occasion, make sure you plug into the tunes with E&M Entertainment. There are tons of DJs out there, but how many of them want to get to know you beforehand so they can play your soundtrack at your event at your kind of price? It's more than just a great selection. E&M plays your great selection, and that makes all the difference. So call 425-971-8078. That's 425-971-8078 for E&M Entertainment.
Cliff Cycle Center is an authorized full-service dealership that markets Kawasaki, KTM, Suzuki, Aprilia, Vespa, Piaggio, and Kymco scooters. At Cliff Cycle Center, you'll also find Kawasaki and Yamaha personal watercraft and Kawasaki, Polaris, and Suzuki all-terrain vehicles. At Cliff Cycle Center, they invite you to come on down and have a cup of coffee on them. They'd love to meet you at Cliff Cycle Center, 1200 Charleston Beach Road, across from the shipyard. Cliff Cycle Center.
Video Me Productions combines technical experience with a keen eye to produce high-quality videos. Video Me Productions is experienced, passionate, and creative. Video Me puts out high-quality videos from commercials to weddings and family gatherings to concerts and live events. Call Video Me today and find out how their video services can help you. 360-620-4888 or visit their website to see video demos of their work at videomeproductions.com.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. I've partnered with Ish Vintage Clothing, the Oxford Suites, and Parties by a Perfect Place to create our unique boudoir, glam, and pinup parties, which is perfect for a girls' night out or bachelorette parties. You choose your theme, get your hair and makeup done, play dress up for the evening, and then receive an accordion booklet of your photos, plus an 8x10 of your favorite photo. For parties or 7 or more, the hostess is free. For more information about our unique parties, visit my website, ElaineTersophotography.com.
And welcome to hour number 2 of the Raw Nerve, heard only here on Edge Media Source. And you can post your comments up on Twitter and all that. And Susan will have all that information for you in just a moment, or you give us a call, 253-617-1440. Now back to your host. Here is Susan C.
Thank you, Dennis. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to the second hour of the Raw Nerve right here on EdgeMediaSource.com. And yes, if you want to tweet, you can go to hashtag EdgeMediaSource and tweet.
And Twitter it.
Yes. I'm not up on this newfangled stuff like that, tweeting and texting and stuff like that. I admit it. I'm an old fogey when it comes to that sort of thing. I like a phone call. Yeah. That's just me. That's just me, I'm telling you. Keep it simple. I'm a big believer in the KISS system. Keep it simple, stupid. Yep. That is the motto of my life. It has to be simple. Well, I'll tell you what, we're having a lot of fun today, because I'll tell you there's a lot on my raw nerve today. There's just so much out there that's on my raw nerve. It's unbelievable. And it occurred to me that, I'm kind of bashing the U.S. and how we're sticking it to the people financially and whatnot. And I thought, well, it's fair to show that we're not the only country that do this. Now, there's a gal that does this blog, and she's talking about her and her family moved to England for this, that, and whatever reason, but they moved to England, and it was an eye-opening experience. She says, arguably no country has done more to spread global democracy and personal liberty than Great Britain. However, the whole concept of a TV license, are you ready for that? A TV license. And its enforcing authority reeks of indirect, petty, restrictive, nanny government involvement in an area that should be outside its remit. It's hard to believe, but in the UK, it is mandatory, and I did not know this. This was totally new to me. It is mandatory to own a license in order to watch television. You have to have a license to watch television in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, it's a criminal offense if you watch television without a license. I guess they can throw your butt in jail for that. She said, imagine our surprise when within a week of moving into our house, We received a threatening letter from the TV Licensing Authority stating that their records indicated no TV license on file for our address. The letter also emphasizes the penalties, 1,000 Great Britain pounds plus costs if we own and used an unlicensed TV. Presently, £1 equals $1.66. So 1,000 of those would be a lot. Of course, we own no television set and see no reason to own one if it's going to be taxed at a rate of Great Britain pound 140 per annum. So we wrote back with a short, sharp response indicating we neither own nor plan to own a television. Shortly after, TV Licensing wrote back with another emphatic statement regarding criminal offenses and penalties, and that we should expect a call from enforcement officers to determine whether or not we do need a TV license. This was about 3 months ago now. We've yet to hear from the TV licensing people again. Despite the aggressive, heavy-handed manner in which they are enforced by TV licensing, it's worth being aware of certain aspects of TV licensing in the UK. This is what they found out. TV licensing is essentially a subcontractor performing the BBC's dirty work. They say if you own a TV license, or you should own a TV license, if you watch TV in the UK. There are a few exemptions, such as the over 74s. If you're over 74 years of age, you're exempted. The license is renewable yearly, and from April 2009, it will cost a whopping Great Britain pound 139.5 Great Britain pounds. Even if you do not own a TV but watch programs on the internet as they are being broadcast live on TV, you will still need a TV license. If you own a TV but only use it for watching DVDs and videos, then you can inform TV licensing of the arrangement and they may grant an exemption. What they've not been able to find out is, do I require a license if I use my TV to watch only non-BBC television programs? Why should you subsidize the BBC for watching Sky or other services you've already paid for? And surely it's only a matter of time before the anti-TV licensing brigade gains sufficient momentum to take the case to court for unfair indirect taxation. I don't know if England has that. I mean, we had the no taxation without representation bit. But could you imagine having to have a license to watch television?
Yeah, okay.
Wow. Even on the internet.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, that's like, I'm sure they have, like, it may not be called the same thing, but I'm sure they have like Netflix and Hulu Plus, you know.
Right.
Stream movies and TV shows and whatnot. You got to pay for that. That's just trippy.
Well, you kind of do here too, in a weird matter of thinking.
Well, you pay the 8 months a month for Netflix, but that goes to Netflix. It doesn't go to the government.
Because we have to, but you have no TV without paying for something. You know, the good old days of putting an antenna up and at least getting 3 channels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
those days are gone.
Way gone.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
I remember growing up being my parents' remote control.
Oh, all of us were. All of us were. We had 3 channels growing up. Yep. 3 channels, and it was always, you know, Susan put it on 3. Susan put it on 12. You know, whatever. And like, I was a remote control because I was the youngest. Yep, I remember that. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You remember when they came out and said that the United States, our economy is so fragile, we couldn't afford to pay our military members enough money to keep them off food stamps?
Right.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
However, according to the UPI, the United States will likely be part of an international effort to shore up the economy of rest of Ukraine. This is according to National Security Advisor Susan Rice. Rice said on NBC's Meet the Press today that underlying the flaring political strife in Ukraine was very, very fragile national economy that needed rapid reforms. The Obama administration planned to work with the International Monetary Fund to provide unspecified financial aid to the Ukraine, which is seen at risk of default. In case you haven't noticed or paid any attention or live under a rock, the Ukraine is pretty much blowing up at the moment. The Ukraine's leadership was up in the air Sunday following the ouster of President Viktor Yanukovych, an ally of the Kremlin in neighboring Russia. Yanukovych riled up the Ukrainian people last year by doing an about-face and seeking closer economic ties with Russia rather than seeking a closer relationship with the European Union, which is what the majority of the people wanted. Yanukovych's downfall raised concerns that Russia might intervene militarily in the crisis in order to keep Yanukovych in power. Rice told NBC that that would be a, quote, grave mistake, and that the Ukraine should be allowed to hold elections and work out its own problems. It is not in the interest of the Ukraine or of Russia or of Europe or of the United States to see a country split, according to Rice. It is in nobody's interest to see violence return and the situation escalate. Now, Russia has more at stake in the Ukraine than keeping an ally in office, she said. NBC says that Russia has a major naval base in Sebastopol and supplies Ukraine with much of its oil and natural gas. Yanukovych and Russian President Vladimir Putin had worked out a $15 billion loan deal that was derailed by the political crisis going on right now. So, we can't afford to pay our veterans or our current military people enough money to keep them, enough salary to keep them off food stamps. But we can afford to bolster another country's entire economy. What's wrong with this picture, people? Don't get me wrong. We're the big kids on the block. We're like Big Brother in the world, not in the bad sense like Orwellian. Well, we're that too, but for the moment, let's look at the other side. And I understand that it's within our best interests, absolutely, to live in as peaceful and as ordered a world as we can manage to live in. That's in everybody's best interests. Unfortunately, there are a lot of countries out there that don't seem to get the message. They didn't get the memo this week. The Ukraine being one of them. Their president had originally said that, and when he was elected, that he was going to offer stronger ties with the European Union and the West. Well, he gets elected, and all of a sudden he turns about face and says, no, I'm going to go with, buddy with Russia over here. Didn't go over so well. Not so well. People are dying. It's a horrible situation right now. It's extremely volatile. And to say it's unstable is one of the understatements of the year so far. Yeah. So I understand that it is in our best interest in the United States, as well as the rest of the world, for things to remain calm and for us to be as helpful as possible. But I got to tell you, I'm getting tired of being the one that sets out and tries to make everything right for everybody else. We don't need to be the one making everything right for everybody else. I'm the person, and believe it, I get hit over the head for being a liberal, which I'm not. I'm independent. But I get hit over the head for being liberal all the time. But I'm the one that comes out and says, you know the guy that does those really annoying commercials on TV? For $15 a month, little Cece over here can go to school and have shoes and not have to drink dirty water out of a pond ditch, Yeah, you know that guy? Yeah. I have long said, listen, if you come up and say, your $15 a month can help a child in Appalachia, on a reservation, in the inner city, any child in the United States that is at risk, I'd say, great, go for it. I'm not saying children in other countries don't deserve to learn to read and write. I'm not saying they don't deserve shoes and clean water and all the things. That's what the Peace Corps and things like that do. We have a lot of organizations that go around the world doing stuff like that. But this guy just really jacks my jaws. Because it's like this whole thing with the Ukraine. People expect, if another country has a problem, that the U.S. somehow will lead the fray to run in, bolster them up, and make them whole again. We can't do that. We have old people eating cat food. We can't do that. I'm a firm believer. I absolutely believe in charity. I also believe charity begins at home. And until we get our mess straightened up, we get our problems fixed, and at least on a smooth base going through life, every one of our citizens has security they can count on. We need to stop doing stuff like this. I mean, I feel for the Ukrainian people. I really do. It's not their fault. It's absolutely not their fault. It's also absolutely not our fault. Or Germany's, or France's, or England's. I gotta tell you, I wonder sometimes if countries didn't have that safety net. If they didn't know, okay, look, we want to do this. When we do this, crap's going to hit the fan. It's going to be bad. It's going to be ugly. But you know what? The U.S. and Europe is going to step in. They'll bail our butts out. They won't let us. We're too big to fail. Yeah. They won't let us, go down the drain. If that mentality were gone, if other little countries didn't feel like, well, if they've got someone looking out for their best interests, go to bail them out, because the whole world thinks everyone in America is rich, and we all drive Cadillacs or something, Yeah. If they didn't have that, what they perceive as a safety net, that we will always step in and help out, I wonder if that might stop some of this unrest. Some governments seem perfectly willing to just dive in and start, basically civil wars. And why not? Because the U.S. and Europe will step in and fix it. I'm getting tired of it. I'm just getting tired of it. Sorry for the Ukraine. I'm sorry they're having the problems they're having. I'm sorry you elected a waffle turner, a flip-flopper of unimaginable degree, to put it mildly. But that's what happened. You did that. I'm not saying don't ever help anybody. We got to help out. But I'm saying we don't have to foot the majority of the bill. And that's what we're doing. Most of the time, we end up footing the majority of the bill. And when our government's coming to us saying, we don't have the money. We don't have the money to do what we said we were going to do. We don't have the money to fully fund public education like, I don't know, we were mandated to do. Don't come back to me later and say, oh, but we're going to go help out, to the tune of billions of dollars. We're going to go help out the Ukraine. We're going to go help out, some little country wherever. That's not the way it should work. There's no logic to it. There's no practicality to it. There's no payback to it. Because 99% of the time, these little countries, they stay in turmoil just enough that they can't ever pay anything back. Yeah. Just saying, it irks me, to put it mildly. Don't get me wrong. I think the Ukraine and Venezuela and all these countries are just so volatile right now. They have been. They've been absolute powder kegs. And all it took was a spark, and apparently this old boy, he had a match. And it's really ugly. It's really awful what's going on over there. But we can't be all things to all people. We cannot be the world's police force. We cannot be the world's bank, fall back on bank that guarantees your loans no matter what. I'm telling you, countries come to the U.S. looking for money that if it were scaled down to this is a person going in to say, I don't know, Bank of America, and saying, I need a loan for whatever, they'd get turned down. We don't do that as a government. I don't know if somebody's afraid of coming across and looking cheap, chintzy or something, but I'm saying at some point, somebody needs to put the brakes on. You help the folks here at home. You help our veterans that can't find jobs. Our veterans that are on the street, and that's a national shame. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the biggest national shames out there, not one child should ever, ever, ever in this country go to bed hungry. Our president, our Congress, our representatives, our mayors, our governors, right down to the dog catchers. If you're an elected official in this country, this should be a forefront issue for you. This should not be acceptable that a child in this country ever goes to bed hungry. And you can scream and holler, whine all you want about, food stamps, and oh my God, they're eating lobster on food stamps as they drive the Cadillacs. Oh, grow up. It's 2014. We all know it doesn't really work that way. It's easy to say that. And it's, these welfare mothers that just crank out a new baby to have more money. No. The vast majority of people on food stamps today are children. And they're hungry. And they shouldn't have to eat top ramen. And they shouldn't have to eat mac and cheese. And they shouldn't have to drink Kool-Aid because it's cheaper than milk. And mac and cheese because it's cheaper than pork chops. Top ramen because it's cheaper than ground beef. You wonder why America's getting fat? All you hear about is America getting fat. We're the butt of jokes all around the world, fat Americans. It's not that we're getting fatter. Well, we are. But it's not because, we're sitting around just, with our thumbs up our butts eating bonbons. It's a fact that the majority of our people can't afford to eat healthy because it's expensive to eat healthy. Fruits are ridiculously expensive. Vegetables, fresh vegetables, not canned, fresh. Meat is ridiculously expensive. When you've only got $300 a month in food stamps and you have to feed 3 children and a parent or 2, that doesn't stretch very far. And no, you can't buy alcohol, and you can't buy tobacco, and you can't buy all the things that they say people are buying with food stamps. No, you can't. You can't. It's for food. You can't even go to the deli and buy food that's already been made. It has to be food that you have to make. Ingredients to make. I know how this works. So I'm just saying, we need to stop worrying about other countries. What are we going to do? They fail. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Let's worry about what's more important in this country first. And we have enough to worry about right here on our plates. Like there not being enough on those plates. Yeah. The most wealthy country on the face of the planet. And our people are going hungry. Something wrong there. Tell you what, we're down to the bottom of the hour here, and we always take a little break here at the bottom, which is cool and awesome. And my stalwart partner in crime over there, Bad Boy Dynasty, he's going to take us out for the bottom of the hour break. We'll be back right after this.
What they do is smiling in your face. Smiling faces, sometimes at last. It's smiling in your face. I don't mean no down and dirty lies. It's smiling in your face.
The Legacy Group in Silverdale is a well-respected independent mortgage banker, absolutely committed to helping Kitsap County families on their path to home ownership. As an employee-owned company, the Legacy Group has a strong stake in your success, and they want to be your lifetime partner in helping you develop a strong real estate portfolio. Call the Legacy Group in Silverdale today at 698-6440 and find out how they can help you get started on the road to home ownership. 698-6440 for the Legacy Group, a lending experience that's a little different and a lot smarter.
Hi, this is Stephen Gardner from the Kitsap Sun. There are 3 things we try to do on the Kitsap Caucus blog. Give you more about the story that didn't fit in the regular piece, give you the story behind the story. We also try to draw attention to other news you might have missed. And sometimes, I like to poke fun at Port Orchard. Read the Kitsap Caucus blog at thekitsapsun.com.
Located 3520 Kitsap Way in Bremerton, Arnold's Home Furnishing has been serving the Kitsap County community since 1951. For nearly 60 years, Arnold's has been here taking care of its customers with excellent customer service and quality merchandise you'll find nowhere else. And visit arnoldshomefurnishing.com to view all the merchandise available and see their current promotions. Arnold's Home Furnishing, to fit every lifestyle and budget.
Hey, St. Paul, the voice of reason here. Wanted to send a quick shout out to our friends at Pacific Northwest Artisans. They're a custom concrete and design fabrication company. They can do all of your concrete needs. They can do pathways, walkways, driveways, you name it. You need a new foundation, you're going to do an add-on, give them a call, 731-9812 or 649-0987. Again, that's 731-9812 or 649-0987. Pacific Northwest Artisans, all of your concrete needs.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. Let me tell you why I say that I am not your average photographer. At Elaine Terso Photography, I can handle all of your photography needs, including weddings, families, and newborns. I have an in-home studio, or I am able to come to you to take photos wherever you want to be. Mention Guardian Broadcasting when you book, and I will give you a 10% discount. For more information, visit me online at ElaineTersoPhotography.com or find me on Facebook.
Video Me Productions combines technical experience with a keen eye to produce high-quality videos. Video Me Productions is experienced, passionate, and creative. Video Me puts out high-quality videos from commercials to weddings and family gatherings to concerts and live events. Call Video Me today and find out how their video services can help you. 360-620-4888 or visit their website to see video demos of their work at videomeproductions.com.
And we're back for the home stretch here on the Raw Nerve. Give us a call, 253-617-1440, or you can chat with us on Twitter. Now back to your host. Here's Susan C.
Thank you, Dennis. Home stretch. And they're rounding the far corner.
Stretch.
Coming into the home stretch. Yes, indeed. Oh, I tell you. The name of the show is The Raw Nerve for a reason. Because there are just some things in this life that just pushes that last raw nerve of mine till I just can't stand it. It's like, watching a little dog, hump himself crazy on somebody's leg. Get off. Just get off. Just get off. Another thing drives me crazy. People who think they're special. Now, and I'm talking about everyday people. I'm not talking about celebrities or whatever like that. Just everyday people who, for whatever reason, think they're special. This gal does. Despite pleas from her husband, her daughter, and her former pastor, a Gig Harbor woman on Friday was sentenced to 18 years in prison for hiring a hitman to kill her son-in-law. Okay? You got this? She hires a guy to whack her son-in-law because she didn't like him. Okay? Of course, there's abusive abuse. Yeah, right. Of course. Jacqueline Ray's family pleaded with Pierce County Judge Stanley Rumbaugh for mercy at Friday's hearing, saying that for decades, a respiratory therapist volunteered her time with both the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts and fed homeless and served on the local search and rescue team. I ask for mercy, Your Honor. I ask for grace, said Reverend Edmund Holy Plen, who was raised pastor at Peace Lutheran Church in Tacoma. I ask for the lightest sentence possible. Rumbaugh apparently was not feeling in a merciful mood, and he gave Ray a sentence 13 years higher than her lawyers asked for. Now, he gave her an 18-year sentence, so her lawyers were asking for 5 years. 5 years. Yeah. What's a human life worth anymore? I wonder. Well, I got to tell you, the judge sentenced Ray, who pleaded guilty last month to second-degree murder, to 18 years, 4 months in prison. Prosecutors contend Ray paid Louis Barker $12,000 to kill Leon Buckham Jr. In July of 2012. She then lured Buckham to her house, where Barker was waiting. He shot Buckham to death before dumping his body in a remote area near her house. Rumbaugh now acknowledged Ray's past contributions to her family and community, but he said that her actions during the summer of 2012 were not deserving of leniency. Wow. Where was mercy when Leon Buckham lay dying on Jackie Ray's doorstep? There was no mercy for him, said the judge. Now, their story was that he was abusive and she was protecting her daughter, blah, blah, blah. But they even say that at a hearing in January, her family said that they saw no history of patterns of abuse in the couple's relationship, only an isolated incident where Buckham may have hit his wife after learning she might be having an affair. So, this gal, this is what irks me about this, aside from the fact that anybody would do such a thing in the first place. I've got a couple of son-in-laws. I love them to death. They're fabulous. They're fabulous. What can I tell you? I'm going to get kicked out of the mother-in-law union. I know. But I have known people that I really, really disliked. There have been people associated with my daughters who I really, really did not like for very, very good reason. Very good reason. We've done the whole restraining order and the stuff. I have seen patterns of actual abuse. There was no maybe about it. But the idea that I am somehow allowed, or it would be right somehow for me to go and hire somebody to kill this offending person, I don't think so. But then to stand up, this is what irks me, is she stands up with her husband and her pastor and her daughter saying, well, she's been such a wonderful person. Cut her some slack. Why? I've never done anything wrong in my life. I served as a volunteer EMT firefighter in this county for 8 years. I've done a lot of volunteer work. But I got to tell you, I'm not going to think that if I killed somebody, and if you hire somebody to do it, you've killed them. It's the same thing. I'm not going to think that because of my wholesome past, what I do now should be just like, oh, well, you know, girls will be girls. Yeah. That just irks me so bad when people have that opinion. They have that attitude that somehow I am special. I've been a really, really good person. So just because I hired somebody, paid $12,000 for somebody to kill my son-in-law, you're not going to hold that against me, are you? Yeah, we are. Silly us. I hate stuff like that. Just makes me nuts. Now here's one that makes me go, how does this happen? How does this happen? Out of Philadelphia, an autopsy was scheduled Friday on the body of a missing young mother who was found inside a car that was parked near Philadelphia's main train station. The car had a number of parking tickets on the windshield. The body of Nadia Malik, 22 years old, of suburban Maple Township in Delaware County, was found Thursday in one of the front seats of the car parked near 30th Street Station. She'd been the subject of a multi-state search since she was last seen on February 9th. So there had been a search going on for like 2 weeks. Malik's body showed no visible signs of trauma and was fully clothed, the police said. Police said the car was first ticketed on February 10th, the day after she was last seen. And the search apparently was on. Yeah. It was ticketed a few blocks from the train station, and the car was towed to a spot behind the station on Valentine's Day because it was blocking snow removal. It was ticketed there a number of other times. So somebody actually hooked this car up and towed it and nobody noticed a dead body in the front seat. All the cops that wrote tickets to this car did not notice a dead body in the front seat. Now, Police Lieutenant John Walker said it would be difficult for officers issuing the parking tickets to see inside the car. If you look at the car, it's tinted heavily on the back and side windows, and the windshield would have been covered with snow. In addition, the passenger seat containing the body was completely reclined, and the woman's head was covered with a black duffel bag. Okay. Someone outside the car couldn't tell there was a body under the bag until you opened the car and grabbed the bag. Investigators said they want to question Malik's boyfriend, with whom she has 2 young children. He was arrested in Solon, Ohio on a probation violation and is awaiting extradition, but hasn't been charged in this case yet. Now, okay, I understand what they're saying. I really do. But I've also lived in towns where we've had a lot of snow. It's been really snow. I lived in the Midwest for years. And I guarantee you, I don't know, maybe Philadelphia is different, but back home, when cops would write a ticket for your car, if they came up to your car and were going to ticket it, they did that. They did a swipe. And they looked in the car. And I got to tell you, even if the seats recline with a duffel bag over the head, you still see a body. It may appear to be a headless body, but there's a body laying there. And you're going to tell me not one of these cops ever did this? Nobody looked in the car when they towed it? Come on. God. A multi-state search. Looking for this poor woman. Yeah. Now here's a case of, I hope my tax dollars didn't go to pay this woman. Hermione Osby still holds her 3 front baby teeth in her hand after they came out Tuesday. Lots of kids lose their teeth. It's cute, their little baby teeth come out. There's only one problem with this picture, though. They weren't supposed to come out anytime soon. According to the girl's mother, they were yanked out by a worker at her school. Yeah. Wow. She should be getting the support she needs, according to her mother, Tomika Speller, not getting attacked in the classroom. Now, Hermione, 7, attends a class for children with behavioral issues at the Solace Cohen Elementary School in Northeast Philadelphia. Speller says her daughter was chewing on her sweater and refused to stop when a specially trained school therapeutic worker told her to. Speller says the worker then forcefully pulled out the sweater, just yanked it out, and yanked out the girl's front 3 teeth. That's a good yank. Even for baby teeth, that's a good yank. She used excessive force, Speller said. She just said, "I'm not having this today," and she yanked it out. Just because you're having a bad day does not mean you're going to mistreat my child. Now, that's really beyond bizarre. Because it takes some good force to pull out baby teeth like that from pulling something out of their mouth that aren't ready to come out. And if this is a specially trained school therapeutic worker, what do their everyday average untrained people act like? I've got to wonder. And yet, you read this and you're like, oh my God, how can this happen? This is awful, this poor baby. And then I see a video online that everyone is absolutely screaming bloody murder about because it shows a principal dragging a child who's 6 years old, maybe, by the foot down a hallway in school. And they're like, what a bully, what an awful human being. This is a principal, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I watched the video. She drops the foot several times, and the child just lies there. Dead weight, sack of potatoes, just lies there. And I got to tell you, as odd as this sounds, I have 5 grandchildren who live with me. They are 14, 11, 5, 4, and 3. And I'll tell you, in a battle of wills, there is no contest when you're dealing with a 6-year-old child. They will outstare you, they will outlast you, they will out not blink you, they will, if that's what it takes, they'll win. And I'll tell you, if you've told a child, okay, come with me, we're going to go to the office, blah, 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 and that child throws himself on the floor and just lays there. You go get that kid there. That's a heavy kid. Kind of hard to just pick up and carry. Just something that made me go, watching this guy. I'm like, all right, we have the one story where the worker pulled out the kid's teeth. I'm sure it was an accident, but still, it was an avoidable accident by a huge margin. But then we have everyone up in arms about the principals trying to deal with a recalcitrant 6-year-old. And I'm telling you, my mom always said 6-year-olds are like mules. You got to hit them up the head with a 2x4, just get their attention. Figuratively speaking. Okay. But seriously, they can ignore you like nobody's business. And they love it. Just had to wonder about that. Now, speaking of people who think they're special, who's my favorite person on the face of the planet to hate? Yeah, it would be JB. That boy?
Which one?
JB, Justin Bieber.
Oh, the Biebs.
I want to spank him. I just want to snatch him up, wash his mouth out with soap, and spank him. I just do. I mean, I'm a mother. I'm allowed. Apparently, the baby hitmaker was arrested in Miami, Florida in January on suspicion of driving under the influence, driving on a suspended license, and resisting arrest without violence, and he subsequently pleaded not guilty to the charges, okay? Editors at TMZ.com reported that Bieber has now been offered a deal that will allow him to avoid a jail sentence, but only if he agrees to submit to regular drug tests. Law enforcement sources tell the website that the Florida state attorney has offered Bieber the chance to plead no contest to reckless driving, and in return, the star must complete 40 hours of community service and attend an alcohol education class. As part of the deal, Bieber will also reportedly have to submit to random drug testing. It's not known if the star plans to accept the reported deal. Now, my question is, why would you offer him this deal? Why? Because he's Justin Bieber?
I guess.
Period?
That would be the only reason.
Suspicion of driving under the influence, driving on a suspended license, and it's suspended because of a previous DUI. They don't say that in there, but that's true. Resisting arrest.
Yeah, I have been in plenty of the suspended licensing. Oh, yeah.
What is the one thing everybody screams up and down about DUIs? DUIs have got to stop. DUIs have got to be dealt with harshly and swiftly. There should be jail time, blah, 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 always. I guess unless you're famous.
Yep.
If this were you or I, God forbid, knock wood. If this were you or I, we would be hauled down to jail so fast it would make your head spin. You would have lovely 8x10 close-up photos of you taken, called a mugshot.
Yep.
Yeah. You would be looking at jail time. You'd be looking at fees and fines that are just astronomical. You'd be looking at having to have an interceptor in your car, the little machine that you have to blow in it, and then the machine says, okay, you blew a 0.0, you can drive.
The blow and go.
The blow and go. Car won't start unless you blow a 0.0.
And it will ask you to do it randomly.
While you're driving.
While you're driving.
While you're driving, yeah, that's kind of... I never knew it did that until I knew somebody that had it. And I'm like, well, how do you do that and not crash the car, And they're like, I don't know. You're not supposed to text and drive, but you can, have to blow in the... Whatever. Pull over and blow
it. It gives you so much time to do it.
Right.
And then it'll shut the car off.
Yeah, it just kills the engine. Kills the car.
And you have to wait a little while before you can do it again.
So at what point is Justin Bieber going to, I don't know, be inconvenienced for his behavior?
It has been, oh God, I can't even think. It's been almost over the past year, I'd say. He's had numerous complaints in the area where he lives. And, with the arrests that have followed.
Oh, yeah.
And all of them, poor driving. Okay, the little kid makes enough money. Hire a driver.
No kidding.
It's not like you're going to go out there and catch the bus.
Well, he's a kid, and he's got enough money. He wants to go out and buy his Ferraris and buy his, Jaguars and drive them very, very quickly. Unfortunately, he wants to do it on the streets with everybody else while he's drinking to celebrate having a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Hello, you idiot, you little spoiled brat. I'm so fed up with this boy. He causes thousands of dollars worth of damage to his neighbor's house by egging it. Who in the world gets a felony charge for egging a house? How bad do you have to be to get a felony charge for egging a house, for the love of God?
Felony?
Felony, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So that ought to be really, really interesting to see how that works out. And I got to tell, I wanted to tell you this. This cracked me up. Cracked me up. Only in Italy. Only in Italy. I've had a running argument with some friends of mine about what does or does not constitute art.
Okay.
I've had real heartburn with it ever since, what is it, Sotheby's? What are they called? Oh, the big auction house. They auctioned off a record-setting painting in sales, and it was a blue canvas, a large blue canvas with a white stripe right down the middle of it. That was it. And it was, the critics touted it as brilliant, an unbelievable piece of art. Yeah. And sold for record amount, millions of dollars. Now, go to Bari, Italy. An Italian cleaning firm said that its insurance company will cover the loss of contemporary artworks mistakenly taken for trash and tossed out at a gallery. Yahoo! My kind of people. Lorenzo Rocca of a cleaning firm called Charisma said an employee was just doing her job when she mistook Sala Murat's artwork made from newspaper, cardboard, and cookie pieces. Cookie pieces? Were they at least famous Amos? I don't know. My Lord. But she mistook them for trash left behind by workers setting up the meditating landscape exhibition at the gallery, and she threw them away. Rocca said the company's insurance will cover the estimated, get this, $13,722 valued of lost art.
One man's trash, another man's treasure.
$13,000 for newspaper, cardboard, and cookie pieces. I'm telling you, I'm in the wrong line of work. I can sew glue crap together. I can glue crap together with the best of them, honey. I got me a glue gun. They don't know what I'm capable of.
Oh, geez.
No, I love it. Apparently that the security workers arriving for duty last Wednesday morning noticed works were missing. We're obviously very sorry for what happened. I'm sure the artist is devastated. It's clear the cleaning person did not realize she had thrown away two works. Oh my God, that was just two pieces for $13,722. She did not know she had thrown away two works and their value. But this is all about the artists who have been able to better interpret the meaning of contemporary art, which is to interact with the environment. Remember when the gal, the artist, I can't remember now if it's a gal or not, but had a crucifix in a jar of urine and called it art. Remember that?
No, I can't say I know that one.
Yeah. No pun intended. Okay, every pun intended. It raised a huge sting. It really did. People were so outraged. And you've got the total two schools of thought here. You've got people saying, this is high art. This is somebody's vision of the world, of the way it is, the way it operates, and what's wrong with it, and that we need to do this and that and the other about it. I'm looking at a jar of piss with a cross in it, and I'm like, where do you get that? Where do you get that? And I want some of whatever it is you're taking. Share, pass it along here. My God. And then you get people saying, oh, it's sacrilege, Well, I kind of get their point too, I really do. But I'm getting really fed up with high art. High art. Looking like something my grandchild did. And they want thousands and thousands of dollars for it, if not millions.
Yep.
I don't get it. And I love art. I have studied art. Believe it or not. I love art. But I love art that looks like art. And if you're talking, somebody has been done. Smearing dog poo on a canvas as paint and calling it art. No. That's just annoying to everybody else and probably a disease factory.
It's when I took a simple, I needed an elective for one of my quarters.
You needed an easy A.
And I was like, you know what? I haven't taken an art class in a long time, and I enjoy it, but so why not? Okay, so I get this teacher who, wants to tell me that everything I draw and paint looks ridiculous. It's too commercial, or it's somehow sexual in nature. And she talks about her painting that got rave reviews that was a canvas of flat brown paint with a strip of shiny brown paint, same tone, along the bottom. And people were commenting on how they could see the trees and the river, and I want some of their medications that they're on because they got the good stuff.
Has she ever heard of Rubens? She's saying that, what you do is sexual in nature. Have you ever seen Rubens? And he's a fabulous artist. I give him props.
Yeah, and they were just telling, well, we want you to do something in chalks and, use different shapes. And I'm like, okay. But
I understand, like you said, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I understand that. I am all for everybody having the right and the freedom to enjoy what makes you feel good, what makes you happy.
And insulting the crap out of Norman Rockwell.
Oh, no.
She did that.
Oh,
no. In this class, yes.
Okay, I slapped that woman. I would slap her face.
Because Norman Rockwell is kitsch.
Kitsch. Let's see you do that, honey. Let's see you do that. You do that, and then I would say, oh, well, anybody can do it then, apparently. Yeah, you're right. It's kitsch. If you can't do it, you can't criticize it.
Yeah. And I was a college art instructor.
Really?
Yep.
Brown on Brown.
Skagit Valley Community College.
Brown on Brown.
Needless to say,
sounds like a crap course to me.
I didn't even finish out that quarter. It was something to fill in some space in the summer quarter, but they don't offer anything anyway. So
I love people that they tell you that what you draw or whatever, or poetry that you write or whatever, is too commercial. I love when they do that, because what they're saying is that you're a sellout. You're just trying to come up with what people will pay money for you to do. And I'm sitting there looking at people like that and going, duh? Yeah, Mama got to eat,
Exactly.
Mama got to eat and Mama got to pay the bills. So I'm sorry. Somebody wants to make an insult and say something is too commercial.
Yep.
Nah. Sorry. I don't buy it. A lot of people said Captain and Tennille. Remember them?
Mm-hmm.
Would never be famous because they were too commercial. The songs that they did were too commercial.
Okay, they were right out of the same bloodline pretty much as, Carpenters.
Thank you. I'm assuming the person that didn't like them didn't like the Carpenters as well. But I'm like, really? Really? Everything can't be, Bob Dylan and weird off the wall. And I loved Bob Dylan, But I got to tell you, I don't get it. Like he's saying, a brown canvas, a flat brown with a shiny brown, same tone, same color brown, just shiny across the bottom. I don't get it. What do I know? It's art. Tell you what, we're done for the day. We'll be back next Sunday. Be sure and join us right here from 5 to 7 on Edge Media Source. Stay tuned for the Outlaw Radio Network, and we'll see you next week. See you then.
Come on, push in with trending. Talking about one of my favorite subjects. Man, keep it going with trending. My shoe, right? My hair, your hair. Everybody's talking. Come on, y'all, we're trending. Just checking. You like the 12-inch? And I don't mean the record. We trending. She's so nasty. It's all about me, baby.